Imagine a world where the fear of death didn't exist, where life stretched on endlessly, untouched by the shadows of aging or sickness. Throughout history, people have yearned for this kind of eternal life, a life where death is nothing but a distant memory. This dream of immortality has been woven into countless stories, whispered through the ages in myths and legends. In these tales, witches stand at the heart of the mystery, holding the keys to life beyond death. Witches, with their mysterious powers and connection to the unknown, have always fascinated and frightened people. They are seen as beings who walk between worlds, with one foot in the land of the living and the other in the land of the dead. In many cultures, witches are not just wise women or healers, they are keepers of secrets, capable of bending the rules of life and death. Their knowledge is ancient, passed down through generations, and their power comes from forces that most people cannot understand. In the stories of old, witches are often portrayed as those who defy death itself. They are the ones who drink potions that keep them young forever, or who cast spells that stop time from touching them. These tales are not just about fear, they are about hope, the hope that someone out there has found a way to live forever, to escape the fate that awaits us all. In Greek mythology, Circe, the enchantress, is one such figure. She is a witch who lives on a distant island, far from the eyes of mortals. Circe's powers are vast, and she uses them to transform men into animals, bending nature to her will. But there is more to her than just her magical abilities. Circe is connected to the idea of immortality, not just because of her powers, but because of her isolation. She lives apart from the world, untouched by time, as though she herself is eternal. Her story is one of power and loneliness, a reminder that immortality, even if it could be achieved, might come at a terrible cost. In Slavic folklore, Baba Yaga is a witch who is both feared and revered. She is a figure of death, but also of life, as she controls the balance between the two. Baba Yaga is often depicted as an old crone, with iron teeth and a hunger that can never be satisfied. She lives in a hut that stands on chicken legs, moving through the forest like a predator. But Baba Yaga is not merely a monster, she is a guardian of wisdom and the keeper of life's mysteries. Some stories say that she is immortal, that she has lived for centuries, watching over the world as it changes around her. Her immortality is tied to her knowledge and her connection to the forces of life and death. In Celtic mythology, the Morrigan is a powerful witch goddess associated with war, fate, and death. She is a shapeshifter, often appearing as a raven, a symbol of both war and wisdom. The Morrigan's connection to immortality is not through eternal life, but through her control over the fate of others. She decides who lives and who dies in battle, and in this way, she holds the power of life and death in her hands. The Morrigan story is one of power and destiny, a reminder that even if we cannot escape death, there are those who can control it. In every culture, witches are linked to the afterlife. They are seen as guides, helping souls cross from the world of the living to the world of the dead. This connection to death gives them a unique perspective on life, one that is not bound by the same fears and limitations that most people face. Witches understand that life and death are not opposites, but parts of a cycle, and they use their knowledge to influence that cycle in ways that others cannot. Witches are often feared because they represent what people do not understand. They live on the edge of society, in the shadows, where the line between life and death is blurred. But it is precisely this position that gives them their power. Witches are not bound by the same rules as others, and this makes them dangerous, but also fascinating. They remind us that there is more to the world than what we can see, that there are forces at work that we cannot control or even comprehend. In some stories, witches are immortal not because they have found a way to live forever, but because their legends have lived on through the centuries. The stories of witches like Circe, Baba Yaga, and the Morrigan have been told and retold, their names passed down through generations. These witches have become immortal through their stories, their power growing with each telling. Even in death, they live on, their influence stretching across time and space. The concept of immortality is one that touches something deep within us. It speaks to our fear of the unknown, our fear of the end. But it also speaks to our hope, our desire to live on, to leave something of ourselves behind. Witches, with their mysterious powers and connection to the afterlife, embody this hope and fear. They are figures who challenge the natural order, who refuse to accept the finality of death. In the end, the stories of witches and immortality are not just about magic, they are about what it means to be human. They are about our desires, our fears, and our never-ending quest to understand the mysteries of life and death. Through the tales of witches, we catch a glimpse of what it might be like to live forever, to escape the fate that awaits us all. But these stories also remind us that immortality, like all power, comes with a price. And sometimes, that price is more than we are willing to pay. In the beginning, when the world was young and the stars still seemed close enough to touch, people looked up at the sky and wondered about the mystery of life and death. The sun rose and set, the seasons changed, and yet, no matter how much they tried, they couldn't stop the passage of time. Life was fragile, fleeting, and the shadow of death loomed over every joy. But in their hearts, there was a yearning, a desperate hope that death wasn't the end, that somewhere, somehow, life could go on forever. This hope gave birth to the earliest myths of immortality. These stories were more than just tales, they were the embodiment of the deepest fears and desires of the people who told them. In these ancient times, before the written word, stories were passed down through generations, whispered around campfires, and shared in the safety of family gatherings. These myths were woven into the very fabric of life, providing comfort in a world where death was a constant companion. In the land of Sumer, one of the world's oldest civilizations, there is a story of a king named Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was a man of great strength and power, but despite all his victories, he was haunted by the inevitability of death. When his best friend Enkidu died, Gilgamesh was overwhelmed by grief. The finality of death was unbearable to him, so he set out on a quest to find the secret of eternal life. His journey took him to the ends of the earth, where he met Utnapishtim, a man who had been granted immortality by the gods after surviving a great flood. But even after all his trials, Gilgamesh learned that immortality was not meant for mortals. The gods had set a boundary, and no one could cross it. The story of Gilgamesh is one of the earliest recorded myths of immortality. It speaks to the universal human fear of death and the longing for something beyond this life. It shows how, even in ancient times, people were searching for a way to escape the inevitable, to hold onto the life they loved. In ancient Egypt, death was not seen as the end, but as a transition to another kind of life. The Egyptians believed that if they followed the right rituals and preserved their bodies, they could live forever in the afterlife. The pharaohs, considered gods on earth, were buried with treasures and provisions for their journey into eternity. They believed that their souls would be judged by Osiris, the god of the dead, and if found worthy, they would live forever in the field of reeds, a paradise where they would enjoy all the pleasures of life without the pain of death. But immortality was not just a gift given by the gods, it was something to be earned, something to be fought for. The Egyptians believed that magic could help them in this quest. They practiced rituals and spells, calling upon the gods to grant them eternal life. Sorcerers and priests held the secrets to these powerful incantations, and their knowledge was passed down through the ages, hidden in sacred texts and whispered in secret rites. The pursuit of immortality was not limited to one culture or one time. Across the world, in ancient China, the quest for eternal life took a different form. The Taoist sages believed that immortality could be achieved through a combination of spiritual practices and alchemy. They sought the elixir of life, a potion that could grant eternal youth and life. The emperors of China, with their wealth and power, often funded these alchemical experiments, hoping to find the key to everlasting life. But the elixir remained elusive, and many who sought it found only death. Yet the desire for immortality was so strong that it persisted, even in the face of failure. The myth of the peach of immortality, a fruit that granted eternal life to those who ate it, became a symbol of this unending quest. The peaches were said to grow in the garden of the Queen Mother of the West, a goddess who ruled over the afterlife. Her garden was a place of eternal spring, where time stood still, and those who tasted the fruit were freed from the bonds of mortality. In the ancient world, the line between magic and medicine was often blurred. The same herbs that healed the sick were believed to hold the power of life and death. The shamans and healers who knew these secrets were revered and feared, for they could cure or curse with equal ease. Their knowledge was seen as a gift from the gods, a connection to the divine that set them apart from ordinary people. In their hands, the pursuit of immortality was not just a dream, but a real possibility. The ancient Greeks also had their myths of immortality. The gods of Mount Olympus were immortal, untouched by time or death. They lived in a world of eternal youth, where every day was a celebration. But even the gods knew that immortality came with a price. Tithonus, a mortal man loved by the goddess Eos, was granted eternal life, but not eternal youth. As the years passed, he withered and aged, until he became a mere shadow of his former self, begging for death that would never come. His story is a reminder that immortality, without the preservation of youth, can be a curse rather than a blessing. In every culture, the pursuit of immortality is tied to the understanding of life and death. Ancient civilizations saw the cycle of life in the natural world, the changing seasons, the birth and death of plants and animals, and they wondered if there might be a way to break free from that cycle. They looked to the gods, to magic, and to their own ingenuity, hoping to find a way to live beyond the limits of the human lifespan. Magic, sorcery, and alchemy became tools in this quest. They were seen as bridges between the mortal world and the divine, between life and death. The stories of immortality that grew from these beliefs are filled with both hope and sorrow, with the longing for something more and the harsh reality that nothing lasts forever. These myths are not just stories, they are reflections of the human condition, of our fears, our desires, and our unending search for meaning in a world where death is the only certainty. Even in the oldest stories, the hope for immortality remains, a flickering light in the darkness, a dream that refuses to die. On a lonely island, far from the prying eyes of mortals, there lived a woman with powers that could bend the very fabric of reality. Her name was Circe, and she was no ordinary woman. Born of a god and a nymph, she possessed a magic that could transform the world around her. But it was not just her power that set her apart, it was the way she wielded it, with a grace and a danger that made her both feared and desired. Circe's island was a place where time seemed to stand still, a sanctuary hidden from the chaos of the world. Sailors who ventured too close would find themselves drawn in by an invisible force, their ships guided to her shores as if by fate. But once they arrived, they were no longer men of the sea. With a simple gesture, a word whispered on the wind, Circe would transform them into animals, pigs, lions, wolves, creatures that roamed her island, trapped in bodies not their own, their human minds locked away. This power of transformation was more than just a trick or a curse, it was an expression of Circe's control over life itself. She could take what was human and turn it into something wild, something that no longer followed the rules of man. In this way, she was both a creator and a destroyer, giving new life while taking away what had been. Her magic was as seductive as it was terrifying, a reminder that she held the power of the gods, but also something more, a connection to the very essence of life and death. But why did Circe turn men into beasts? Was it out of cruelty, or was there something deeper, something more complex at play? To understand Circe, one must look beyond her actions to the loneliness that haunted her. Her island, though beautiful, was a prison. She lived there alone, cut off from the world, with only the creatures she created for company. In transforming men, she was perhaps seeking a way to connect, to make them a part of her world, a world where she was the only constant, the only immortal. Circe's association with transformation is closely tied to the idea of immortality. Unlike mortals, who are bound by time and change, Circe could alter her surroundings at will, bending reality to suit her desires. This power gave her a kind of immortality, a way to exist outside the normal flow of life and death. But it also isolated her, setting her apart from the world of men, a world where she could never truly belong. In Greek mythology, immortality is often seen as a blessing, a gift granted by the gods to those they favor. But for Circe, it was a curse as much as a blessing. Her powers made her untouchable, but they also made her alone. The men who came to her island could never be her equals, they were too fragile, too fleeting. In turning them into animals, Circe was not just exercising her power, she was protecting herself, keeping them at a distance so that they could not hurt her as mortals had done before. Circe's story is one of contrasts. She is both a seductress and a divine being, a woman who uses her beauty and charm to lure men to her island, but who also possesses a power that goes beyond the physical. Her beauty is a trap, a way to draw in those who would underestimate her, those who see only a woman and not the force of nature that lies beneath. But once they are in her grasp, they see the truth, that Circe is not just a woman, but something more, something eternal and unchanging. As a seductress, Circe embodies the fear and fascination that men have always had for powerful women. She is the ultimate temptress, using her beauty to draw men in, only to reveal her true nature once they are too close to escape. But unlike other temptresses, Circe's power is not just in her allure, it is in her ability to transform, to change the very essence of those who fall into her trap. She is not just a woman who can seduce, she is a goddess who can create and destroy, who can give life and take it away. But Circe is more than just a seductress, she is also a figure of wisdom and knowledge. Her powers come not just from her divine heritage, but from her understanding of the world, of the forces that govern life and death. She knows the secrets of the gods, the mysteries of the universe, and she uses this knowledge to bend the world to her will. In this way, she is not just a temptress, but a teacher, a guide for those who seek to understand the deeper truths of existence. In the Odyssey, Circe's encounter with Odysseus is a turning point. When he arrives on her island, she tries to transform him as she has done with so many others. But Odysseus is different. He is protected by the gods, immune to her magic, and instead of becoming her victim, he becomes her lover. For a time, they live together on the island, sharing a life that is both passionate and peaceful. But even in this, there is a sadness, for Odysseus cannot stay. He is a mortal, bound by the laws of time, and eventually, he must leave, returning to a world where Circe cannot follow. This relationship with Odysseus reveals another side of Circe, a side that longs for connection, for love. She is not just a seductress or a divine being, she is also a woman, with all the desires and fears that come with being human. Her love for Odysseus is real, but it is also doomed, for they belong to different worlds. He is a man of the earth, bound by time and mortality, while she is something eternal, something that can never truly be part of the world he must return to. Circe's story is one of power and loneliness, of a woman who has everything and yet nothing. She is a goddess, a witch, a temptress, and a sage, but she is also a figure of tragedy, a reminder that even the most powerful beings are not immune to the pain of isolation. Her island, with its eternal spring and unchanging beauty, is both her kingdom and her cage, a place where she can be free, but also a place where she is forever alone. Through her, we see the complexities of immortality, the way it can both elevate and isolate, the way it can give power, but also take away the simple joys of life. Circe is a figure who defies easy categorization, a character who is as much a part of the human world as she is a part of the divine. Her story is one that lingers, like the scent of the flowers on her island, sweet and seductive, but with an undertone of something darker, something that reminds us that even the most powerful beings cannot escape the fate that binds us all. In the heart of the dark and endless forests, where shadows stretch long and the wind whispers secrets, there lives an ancient being, neither fully human nor entirely divine. Her name is Baba Yaga, and she is known by many as the Deathless Crone, a figure of both fear and fascination in Slavic folklore. Her home is a hut that stands on chicken legs, always turning, never still, just like the stories that surround her, stories that are as old as the trees, as twisted as the roots beneath the earth. Baba Yaga is no ordinary witch. She is ancient, older than the memory of mankind, and her power is unmatched. She is said to fly through the sky in a mortar, steering with a pestle, sweeping away her tracks with a broom made of silver birch. To those who seek her out, she can be a source of great wisdom, but to others, she is a harbinger of doom, a creature who revels in the chaos of life and death. Her nature is as enigmatic as the forest she dwells in, impossible to fully understand, yet impossible to ignore. In the tales told around the fire, Baba Yaga is often the guardian of the threshold, the one who stands between the world of the living and the world of the dead. She is the keeper of secrets, the one who knows the path to the underworld, and she does not share this knowledge lightly. Those who dare to approach her must do so with caution, for Baba Yaga is as likely to devour you as she is to help you. But there is more to her than just terror. There is something ancient and powerful, something that ties her to the very essence of life and death. Baba Yaga's relationship with death is complex. She is not death itself, but she is intimately connected to it. In some stories, she is said to hold the key to immortality, to possess the knowledge that can keep death at bay. But this immortality is not the kind that mortals dream of. It is a cursed existence, a life that never ends, but also never changes. Baba Yaga herself is deathless, a creature who has lived beyond the reach of time, but her immortality is a lonely one, marked by an existence that is more burden than blessing. Yet Baba Yaga is not merely a figure of death, she is also a symbol of life, of the natural cycle that governs all things. She is the embodiment of the earth, of the wild and untamed forces that give life but also take it away. Her role as both a creator and a destroyer makes her a figure of duality, one who cannot be easily defined. She is the wise woman who understands the secrets of the universe, but she is also the fearsome witch who wields her power without mercy. In the tales of old, Baba Yaga is often sought out by those in need, those who are desperate enough to risk her wrath. She is the one who holds the answers, but her help comes at a price. To gain her favor, one must prove themselves, must show that they are worthy of the knowledge she possesses. But even then, her help is not guaranteed, for Baba Yaga is unpredictable, her actions guided by a logic that is all her own. She may offer guidance, but she may also test you, push you to the brink, to see if you have the strength to survive. And yet, there is a kindness in Baba Yaga, a strange and twisted kindness that shows itself in the most unexpected ways. She is not evil, but she is not good either. She exists outside the bounds of human morality, in a place where life and death are not opposites, but part of the same whole. Her wisdom is the wisdom of the ages, the understanding that all things must come to an end, and that death is not something to be feared, but something to be accepted. In this way, Baba Yaga is both a terrifying figure and a comforting one. She is the monster in the woods, the one who can end your life with a single word, but she is also the one who understands the pain of living, the one who knows that sometimes death is a release, a return to the earth from which we all came. Her immortality is not a gift, but a burden, a never-ending existence that has left her both wise and weary. Her dual nature is what makes Baba Yaga such a powerful figure in folklore. She is the crone who frightens children and the wise woman who guides heroes. She is the embodiment of the unknown, the mystery that lies at the heart of life and death. To meet Baba Yaga is to confront the darkest parts of yourself, to face the fear of death and the fear of life, and to understand that both are necessary, both are part of the same eternal cycle. In the end, Baba Yaga is a reflection of the world she inhabits, a world that is beautiful and terrifying, full of life but also full of death. She is a reminder that we are all part of something larger, something that we cannot fully understand, but that we must accept. Her immortality is a symbol of this truth, a reminder that life and death are not opposites, but two sides of the same coin, forever linked in an endless dance. In the shadow of the forest, where the light barely penetrates and the air is thick with the scent of pine and earth, Baba Yaga waits. She waits for those who are brave enough, or desperate enough, to seek her out. And when they come, she will be there, with her ancient wisdom and her fearsome power, ready to show them the truth of the world, a truth that is as old as the forest itself, as old as Baba Yaga, the deathless crone. In the stillness of the night, when the moon casts its silver light over the earth, there is a presence that lingers at the crossroads. This is the hour of Hecate, the Greek goddess who walks between worlds, guiding souls and wielding a power that is as ancient as the stars. She is a figure who commands both reverence and fear, a goddess who stands at the threshold of life and death, holding the keys to both. Hecate's role in Greek mythology is as complex as it is profound. She is not just a goddess of witchcraft, but a guardian of the crossroads, those liminal spaces where the boundaries between the mortal world and the unknown blur. It is at these crossroads that Hecate's influence is strongest, where she is believed to hold sway over the fates of those who pass through. The crossroads are a place of decision, of transition, and it is here that Hecate watches, her torches lighting the way for those who seek her guidance. But Hecate's dominion extends beyond the crossroads. She is also the goddess of the underworld, a guide for souls making their final journey. With her torches in hand, she leads the dead to their resting place, her presence a comfort to some and a terror to others. The underworld is a place of shadows, a realm that is neither fully of the living nor of the dead, and it is Hecate who rules over this space, her power unmatched, her knowledge of the mysteries of life and death unparalleled. Hecate is often depicted with three faces, a symbol of her ability to see in all directions, to know the past, present, and future. This triple aspect also reflects her connection to the phases of the moon, which she governs. As the goddess of the moon, Hecate is linked to the cycles of time, to the eternal rhythm of life and death. Her three faces also symbolize her role as the goddess of the crossroads, where three paths meet, each leading to a different destiny. Her association with the underworld and the dead has also made Hecate a goddess of eternal life. In the ancient world, she was invoked by those who sought protection in life and in death, by those who wished to gain favor in the afterlife. Her powers are not bound by the mortal world. She can grant visions, reveal hidden truths, and offer blessings that transcend the boundaries of life itself. To those who revere her, Hecate is the guardian of the soul, the one who can guide them safely through the dark passages of the afterlife. But Hecate's power is not only over death, she is also a goddess of life, of birth and renewal. She is often called upon in times of crisis, when difficult decisions must be made, when the path ahead is uncertain. Her wisdom is sought by those who stand at their own crossroads, unsure of which way to turn. Hecate's guidance can lead to new beginnings, to a rebirth that is both spiritual and physical. Her torches are a symbol of hope, a light in the darkness that can show the way forward. Over time, Hecate's image evolved, becoming a symbol of witchcraft and magic. In the later periods of Greek and Roman history, she was increasingly associated with the darker aspects of witchcraft, with spells and curses, with the summoning of spirits and the invocation of the dead. She became a figure of fear, a goddess who could command the forces of nature and bend them to her will. Her connection to witchcraft made her both revered and feared, a goddess who could grant power, but also take it away. Yet, even as her image darkened, Hecate remained a complex and multifaceted figure. She was not just a goddess of dark magic, but also of healing, of protection, and of wisdom. She was called upon by those who needed guidance, who sought to navigate the challenges of life with the help of her ancient knowledge. Hecate was a goddess who understood the balance of life and death, who knew that both were necessary, and who could offer solace in the face of the unknown. In many ways, Hecate represents the duality of existence. She is the light and the dark, the beginning and the end. She is the goddess who can bring life and take it away, who can guide the living and the dead with equal skill. Her power is both terrifying and comforting, a reminder that there is more to life than what we see, that there are forces at work that we cannot fully understand, but that we must respect. As the goddess of the crossroads, Hecate stands at the intersection of fate and free will, of life and death, of the known and the unknown. Her presence is a reminder that we are all travelers on a journey, that we all must face the choices that define our lives, and that, in the end, we are all subject to the same forces that govern the universe. Hecate's torches light the way, but it is up to us to choose the path we will take. Hecate's legacy endures, not just in the myths and stories of the ancient world, but in the way she continues to inspire those who seek wisdom and guidance. She is a goddess who embodies the mysteries of life and death, who understands the power of the crossroads, and who offers her protection to those who are brave enough to seek it. In her, we see the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, the endless dance of the moon, the stars, and the shadows, a dance that continues to this day, under the watchful eyes of Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft and immortality. In the misty and enchanted lands of Camelot, where the echoes of chivalry and honor once rang through the halls, there lived a woman whose name still stirs the heart with awe and dread, Morgane le Fay. She is the immortal sorceress, a figure of power and mystery, whose life was woven into the very fabric of Arthurian legend. Morgane was not merely a woman of magic, she was a force of nature, one whose ambitions reached beyond the mortal world, and to the very essence of immortality. Morgana's story is one of both brilliance and darkness, a tale of a woman who was born into a world where power was the realm of men, but who refused to be confined by such limitations. From a young age, Morgana was marked by her gifts, an intelligence that surpassed her years, and a magical ability that set her apart from those around her. But these gifts were not without their burdens. The magic that coursed through her veins was both a blessing and a curse, drawing her ever closer to the darker forces that would come to define her life. Her pursuit of power was relentless. Morgana sought knowledge in places where few dared to venture, delving into the ancient arts, learning from those who had long been forgotten by time. She was determined to harness the full extent of her power, not just for her own sake, but for the sake of something greater. Morgana did not seek immortality out of fear of death. She sought it out of a desire to transcend the limitations of her human form, to become something more, something eternal. Yet, Morgana's quest for power was not without consequence. Her relationships became entangled in the web of her ambitions, none more so than with her half-brother, King Arthur. Their bond was complex, rooted in both love and rivalry. Arthur, the once and future king, was the embodiment of all that was good and noble, the shining beacon of hope for the people of Camelot. Morgana, on the other hand, was the shadow to his light, the embodiment of the ancient and wild magic that existed long before Arthur's kingdom. The relationship between Morgana and Arthur was one of deep conflict. Morgana saw in Arthur both a beloved brother and a rival. She loved him, but she also resented the power he held, power that she believed should have been hers. This resentment grew as Morgana became more deeply involved in the mystical arts, as she sought to carve out her own place in a world that had little room for a woman of her talents. Morgana's pursuit of immortality was not just about living forever, it was about achieving a power that was absolute, a power that would place her above the gods themselves. She dabbled in the darkest of magics, forging pacts with forces that were beyond human comprehension. These pacts gave her incredible power, but they also came with a price that Morgana was willing to pay, even if it meant losing a part of herself in the process. As Morgana's power grew, so did her distance from Arthur. The love that had once bound them began to fray, replaced by suspicion and fear. Arthur could see the changes in his sister, could see how the magic was consuming her, transforming her into something that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Morgana, for her part, could not understand why Arthur did not see the world as she did, why he clung to his ideals of chivalry and honor when there was so much more to be gained from embracing the darker aspects of magic. Their conflict came to a head as Morgana's ambitions reached their peak. She sought to usurp Arthur, to take the throne of Camelot for herself, believing that only she had the strength and the vision to lead. The battle between them was not just a physical one, but a battle of wills, a clash of two opposing forces, light and dark, order and chaos. In the end, it was not Arthur's strength that won the day, but Morgana's own realization of what she had become. She saw, too late, that her pursuit of power had cost her everything, her family, her humanity, her very soul. Morgana Le Fay's story is one of tragedy, a tale of a woman who was consumed by her own ambitions. But it is also a story of immense power, of a woman who refused to be limited by the world around her, who sought to transcend the boundaries of life and death. Morgana's quest for immortality was not just a quest for eternal life, but a quest for eternal power, a power that she believed would give her the freedom she so desperately craved. In the end, Morgana did achieve a form of immortality, but not in the way she had imagined. She became a legend, a figure of both fear and fascination, whose story would be told for centuries to come. Morgana Le Fay, the immortal sorceress of Arthurian legend, whose name still echoes through the halls of time, a reminder of the price that must be paid for the pursuit of power and the cost of seeking to become more than human. In the glow of twilight, when shadows stretch across the earth and the air is thick with the scent of night, there stands a woman whose name is whispered with both awe and sorrow, Medea, the Witch Queen. Her story is one of unimaginable power, a woman gifted with magic so potent that even the gods took notice. But beneath the surface of her strength lies a heart broken by love, betrayal, and a relentless pursuit of something no mortal should ever seek, immortality. Medea's journey began far from the lands of Greece and Caucasus, a land of mystery and ancient magic. She was the granddaughter of Helios, the sun god, and her blood carried the promise of divine power. From a young age, she learned the arts of sorcery, mastering potions and spells that could alter fate itself. Her magic was a gift, but also a burden, for it isolated her from the world of ordinary mortals. She was destined for greatness, but that greatness would come with a terrible price. It was Jason, the leader of the Argonauts, who changed the course of Medea's life forever. When he arrived in Caucasus to claim the Golden Fleece, Medea saw in him not just a hero, but a chance for something more, a way out of the world she had known. She fell in love with him, and in that love, she saw the possibility of a life beyond the limitations of her mortal existence. Medea's love for Jason was all-consuming, a force that drove her to commit acts she might never have imagined. She used her magic to help him win the fleece, betraying her family and her homeland in the process. For Jason, Medea abandoned everything she had ever known. But love, as Medea would come to learn, is a fragile thing. Jason's promises of loyalty and devotion were as fleeting as the wind. After years of marriage and bearing him children, Jason's betrayal came like a knife to the heart. He cast Medea aside for another woman, seeking power and status through a new marriage. For Medea, this was not just a personal betrayal, but a shattering of everything she had sacrificed. Her heart, once full of love, was now consumed by rage. In her anger and grief, Medea turned to the only thing that had ever truly been hers, her magic. She sought to make Jason pay for the pain he had caused, and in doing so, she unleashed a tragedy that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Medea's revenge was brutal, striking at Jason in the most profound way possible. She killed their children, the very embodiment of their love, as a way of ensuring that he would never forget the consequences of his betrayal. It was an act of unimaginable cruelty, but also one born of a heart torn apart by love. Yet, beneath the horror of her actions, there is something deeply tragic about Medea. She was a woman who had given everything for love, only to see it crumble before her eyes. Her pursuit of immortality was not just about living forever, it was about trying to preserve something that was slipping away, her sense of self, her identity, her place in a world that had rejected her. Medea's magic gave her power over life and death, but it could not protect her from the devastating loss of love. Medea's connection to immortality is woven into her very being. She is often depicted as having knowledge of the secrets of eternal life, of potions and spells that could grant unending youth. In one of the most famous myths, Medea uses her magic to restore the youth of Jason's father, Ezin. She brews a potion so powerful that it reverses the effects of aging, bringing Ezin back from the brink of death. This act of restoration shows Medea's incredible power, her ability to control the forces of life itself. But Medea's pursuit of immortality is not just about prolonging life, it is also about escaping the pain of her own existence. As she moves through the world, casting spells and weaving her magic, there is a sense that Medea is searching for something that will make her whole again. She wants to escape the suffering that has defined her life, to find a way to transcend the mortal pain that has scarred her heart. Medea's story is not just one of power, but of profound tragedy. She is both a witch and a woman, a sorceress and a mother, a figure of immense strength and unimaginable sorrow. Her portrayal in myth is complex, for she is not just a villain or a hero, she is both. Medea is the embodiment of the duality of magic itself. It can heal, but it can also destroy. It can give life, but it can also take it away. And in Medea's case, it did both. As a tragic heroine, Medea's life is marked by loss and betrayal, but also by resilience. She does not break under the weight of her suffering, instead, she channels it into something more. Her magic, her power, is both a gift and a curse, allowing her to rise above her circumstances, but also leading her down a path of destruction. Medea's pursuit of immortality is not just about avoiding death, but about trying to find a way to live with the unbearable weight of her choices. In the end, Medea's legacy is one of both horror and awe. She is remembered as a witch, a powerful sorceress who could bend the forces of nature to her will. But she is also remembered as a woman who loved too deeply, whose heart was broken by the very thing she cherished most. Medea's magic may have granted her great power, but it could not save her from the pain of being human. And in that pain, in that tragic search for something beyond the mortal world, Medea became immortal, not through her magic, but through the story that still echoes through the ages. In the cold, rugged lands of the north, where the winds howl through ancient forests and the skies remain gray with the weight of unspoken secrets, there are stories of beings who hold power over life and death. These are the immortal witches of Norse mythology, figures shrouded in mystery, whose influence stretches across the threads of fate itself. Their names are whispered with reverence and fear, for they are not merely witches, they are the weavers of destiny, the guardians of life's most profound mysteries. Among these witches, none is more enigmatic than Gullveig, a figure whose very existence ignited the flames of conflict between the gods. Gullveig was no ordinary witch, she was a symbol of something far greater, something that the gods themselves could not control. Her power was tied to gold, to wealth, and to the desires that it awakens in the hearts of men and gods alike. But Gullveig was also tied to something even more potent, immortality. She could not be destroyed, no matter how many times the gods tried to end her life. They burned her, 3 times they tried, but each time she rose from the ashes, reborn and as powerful as ever. Gullveig's immortality was a curse and a blessing, a force that made her both feared and revered. She was the embodiment of greed, but also of resilience, a being who could not be kept down by even the mightiest of gods. Her survival was a testament to the indomitable spirit of life itself, a reminder that some forces are beyond the reach of even the most powerful beings. Gullveig's unending existence became a source of strife, sparking the Asurvanir War, a conflict that would forever change the course of Norse mythology. In her, the gods saw a threat to their own power, a being who could defy death and rise again, no matter what they did to her. But if Gullveig represented the indestructible force of life, the Norns were the ones who held the threads of that life in their hands. The Norns were the weavers of fate, 3 sisters who sat at the base of Yggdrasil, the world tree, spinning the destinies of gods and men alike. Urd, the eldest, was the keeper of the past, the one who remembered all that had come before. Verdandi, the second sister, held the present in her hands, shaping the moment with every breath she took. And Skuld, the youngest, was the guardian of the future, the one who knew what was yet to come and who could cut the thread of life when the time was right. The Norns were not bound by the rules of mortality. They existed beyond the confines of time, seeing all that was, is, and ever will be. Their power was absolute, for they could alter the course of events with a single snip of their shears, or with the simple movement of their spinning wheel. The gods themselves were not immune to the Norns' influence, for even they were subject to the fate that the sisters wove. The Norns were immortal, not in the sense of living forever, but in the sense that they were eternal, timeless beings whose power transcended the physical world. The influence of the Norns on Norse concepts of immortality cannot be overstated. They were the ones who decided the lifespan of every being, who determined when a life would end and when it would continue. They were the ones who could grant or deny immortality, who held the power to shape the very fabric of existence. The Norns were not just witches, they were the arbiters of destiny, the ones who could see beyond the veil of time and into the very heart of the universe. But while the Norns controlled the threads of fate, there were other witches in Norse mythology who sought to influence their own destinies. These were the Volvas, sorceresses who could glimpse the future and who wielded their magic to alter the course of events. The Volvas were respected and feared for their powers, for they could see what others could not, and they could use that knowledge to their advantage. They were the keepers of ancient wisdom, the ones who understood the mysteries of life and death, and who could guide others through the complexities of existence. The Volvas were not immortal in the traditional sense, but their knowledge gave them a kind of immortality, for they could see beyond the limits of their own lives. They understood the cycles of time, the ebb and flow of life, and they used that understanding to influence the world around them. The Volvas were the witches who stood on the edge of life and death, who could peer into the darkness and bring back the light of knowledge. Their power was not just in their magic, but in their ability to see the truth, to understand the forces that shaped the world. In the world of Norse mythology, immortality was not just about living forever, it was about understanding the forces that governed life and death, about wielding the power of fate itself. The immortal witches of Norse mythology were not just beings of magic, they were the keepers of life's most profound secrets, the ones who could shape the destiny of the world with a single thought. Their power was not just in their spells, but in their understanding of the universe and their ability to see beyond the physical world and into the heart of existence. The stories of Gullveig, the Norns, and the Volvas are not just tales of magic and power, they are stories of life and death, of the forces that govern existence and the beings who hold those forces in their hands. These witches were more than just figures of legend, they were the very essence of immortality, beings whose influence stretched across time and space, shaping the destiny of all who lived in the world of the Norse. Their legacy is one of power and mystery, a reminder that some forces are beyond the reach of even the gods, and that immortality is not just about living forever, but about understanding the true nature of life itself. In the ancient lands of the East, where the air is thick with the scent of incense and the whispers of forgotten prayers linger in the wind, there are stories of women who defied the very nature of existence. These women, immortal sorceresses, wielded powers that transcended the ordinary, walking the line between life and death, between the mortal and the divine. Their tales are woven into the fabric of Chinese, Japanese, and Indian mythology, where they are remembered not just as witches, but as guardians of immortality and keepers of ancient wisdom. In the misty mountains of China, there is a legend of a woman whose beauty was rivaled only by her wisdom, Zhuangmu, the Queen Mother of the West. She is not merely a figure of myth, but a goddess who holds the elixir of immortality in her hands. Zhuangmu's palace is said to be a place of unparalleled beauty, surrounded by gardens where the peaches of immortality grow, fruit that grants eternal life to those who are worthy. But Zhuangmu is not easily swayed by flattery or charm. She is a fierce guardian, a being whose power is as vast as the heavens, and whose knowledge of the mystical arts is unmatched. Zhuangmu's presence is both nurturing and fearsome. She is a protector of life, but also a force to be reckoned with. Those who seek her favor must prove themselves worthy, for she is not one to give away the gift of immortality lightly. Her role in Chinese mythology is profound, for she is the one who bridges the gap between the mortal world and the divine, offering a glimpse of eternity to those who dare to seek it. Zhuangmu's wisdom is ancient, her knowledge deep, and her power over life and death absolute. She is not just a witch, but a goddess, a being who embodies the very essence of immortality. In Japan, the tales of immortal sorceresses take on a different tone, one that is steeped in both beauty and melancholy. One of the most haunting stories is that of Yaobikuni, a woman who gained immortality not through a divine gift, but through a curse. Yaobikuni was once an ordinary woman, living a simple life in a small fishing village. One day, she was given the flesh of a mermaid to eat, a creature whose meat was said to grant eternal life. Unaware of the consequences, Yaobikuni consumed the flesh, and from that moment on, she was cursed with immortality. But immortality, as Yaobikuni would come to learn, is not a blessing. As the years passed, she watched her loved ones age and die, while she remained unchanged, untouched by time. Her beauty became a burden, her endless life a source of sorrow. Yaobikuni wandered through the centuries, a lonely figure whose heart was weighed down by the memories of those she had lost. In the end, she became a nun, seeking solace in the quiet of the temple, but even the peace of the temple could not ease the pain of her unending existence. Yaobikuni's story is a reminder that immortality, for all its allure, is also a curse, a fate that can bring endless sorrow to those who are not prepared to bear its weight. In the rich tapestry of Indian mythology, there are stories of women whose power and wisdom have granted them a place among the gods. One such figure is the witch sorceress Chinnamasta, a fierce and formidable goddess whose name means she who is severed-headed. Chinnamasta is not an ordinary being, she is a symbol of the cycle of life and death, of creation and destruction. Her image is terrifying to behold, for she is depicted holding her own severed head in one hand, while her body continues to dance in a state of ecstatic bliss. From her neck, 3 streams of blood flow, feeding her attendants and symbolizing the flow of life itself. Chinnamasta's power is not just in her terrifying appearance, but in her ability to control the forces of life and death. She is a guardian of the life force, a being whose power transcends the physical body and touches the very essence of existence. In Indian mythology, she is worshipped not just as a goddess, but as a symbol of the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Her immortality is not one of endless life, but of endless existence, a constant renewal of the self that defies the limitations of the mortal world. These immortal witches of the East are more than just characters in ancient stories, they are symbols of the cultures from which they arise. In China, the pursuit of immortality is a quest for wisdom and divine favor, embodied in the figure of Zhuangmu, the Queen Mother of the West. In Japan, the sorrow of immortality is captured in the tragic tale of Yao Bikuni, a woman cursed to live forever, while in India, the power of life and death is held by Chinnamasta, a goddess who transcends the physical world. These sorceresses are guardians of immortality, beings who hold the key to the mysteries of life and death. They are feared and revered, their stories passed down through generations as a reminder of the power and danger of seeking eternal life. Yet, despite the differences in their tales, there is a common thread that binds them all, a deep understanding of the fragile nature of existence, and the realization that immortality, for all its allure, is a burden that only the strongest can bear. In the quiet moments of the night, when the world is still and the stars burn brightly in the sky, the stories of these immortal witches come alive, whispering of the power that lies beyond the veil of mortality. Their tales are a testament to the enduring human desire to transcend the limitations of life, to reach for something greater, something eternal. But they are also a warning, a reminder that with great power comes great responsibility, and that the pursuit of immortality can lead to consequences that no magic can undo. In the heart of Africa, where the earth hums with ancient rhythms and the sky dances with the fire of 1,000 sunsets, there are legends of immortal witches whose powers are as deep and mysterious as the land itself. These witches are not merely figures of folklore, but are woven into the very fabric of traditional African spirituality, holding sway over life, death, and the natural world with a presence that commands both reverence and awe. In the lush, verdant regions of West Africa, the figure of Mami Wata emerges from the depths of rivers and forests. She is a spirit of both water and fertility, often depicted as a beautiful woman with the lower body of a serpent. Mami Wata is more than a mere being, she is a goddess of immense power, embodying the mysteries of the deep waters and the secrets they hold. Her beauty is both enchanting and terrifying, a reflection of the duality of nature itself. Those who seek her favor are drawn to her with offerings and prayers, hoping to gain her blessings for health, wealth, and protection. Mami Wata's immortality is tied to her dominion over water and the natural world, elements that are eternal and unyielding. But Mami Wata's power is not without its dangers. The same waters that bring life can also take it away, and those who do not respect her might find themselves at the mercy of the currents. Her immortality is a reminder of the balance that must be maintained in nature, and of the respect that must be given to the spirits that govern the world. Mami Wata is a protector of the natural order, a guardian whose presence commands both reverence and caution. In southern Africa, the tale of the witch Gogo Bess features prominently in local legends. Gogo Bess is a revered figure, often described as a wise old woman with deep knowledge of the spirit world. Her powers are said to extend over the forces of life and death, making her a central figure in the spiritual practices of her people. Gogo Bess is believed to possess the ability to heal the sick and communicate with the ancestors, bridging the gap between the living and the dead with a wisdom that has been passed down through generations. Her immortality is not a matter of living forever in a physical sense, but is reflected in the lasting impact she has on her community. Gogo Bess's knowledge and teachings are passed from one generation to the next, ensuring that her spirit and wisdom live on. She is a symbol of the enduring connection between the living and the ancestral world, a reminder that the spirits of the past continue to influence the present. In the vast savannas and the dense forests of Central Africa, the stories of the witch Mami Wata and Gogo Bess are echoed in the figure of the shapeshifting sorceress, known in various cultures as a powerful witch who can assume many forms. These witches are believed to possess the ability to control the natural world, from summoning rain to causing droughts, and their influence is seen as a reflection of the forces that govern the environment. They are both feared and revered, their powers seen as a crucial part of the balance between humans and nature. These immortal witches are not just figures of fear, but are also seen as protectors and guides. They hold knowledge that is essential for survival and prosperity, their wisdom guiding their people through times of hardship and change. Their powers over life and death are intertwined with their roles as guardians of the natural world, making them central to the spiritual and practical lives of those who revere them. The portrayal of these witches in African mythology highlights a profound connection between the spiritual and natural worlds. They are seen as both part of the natural order and as beings who transcend it, holding power over the elements and the cycles of life and death. Their immortality is a testament to their deep-rooted place in the spiritual beliefs of their cultures, reflecting a view of the world where life, nature, and the supernatural are inextricably linked. In every story, every legend, and every whispered tale, these immortal witches remind us of the mysteries that lie beyond the physical world. Their powers are a reflection of the ancient wisdom and the deep respect for the forces that shape our existence. They are the custodians of knowledge, the guardians of balance, and the eternal figures who bridge the gap between the living and the unseen world. Their presence in African folklore is a powerful reminder of the enduring connection between humanity and the mysteries of the universe, a connection that transcends time and space. In the shadowy corners of Celtic mythology, where the mists of ancient forests swirl and the echoes of old battles linger, there is a figure who commands both fear and reverence. Morrigan, the Celtic witch goddess, is a being whose presence is felt in the midst of battle and in the quiet moments of death. She is a mistress of both realms, a powerful figure whose influence stretches across the very fabric of Celtic beliefs. Morrigan is not just a goddess of war, she is a symbol of the fierce and unyielding force of nature itself. She appears in various forms, each one a reflection of her complex nature. Often depicted as a crow or raven, her presence on the battlefield is a harbinger of death and change. These birds, with their dark feathers and watchful eyes, are seen as messengers between the worlds of the living and the dead. When Morrigan takes this form, it is a sign that the end is near, and her arrival is both a promise of release and a reminder of the inescapable fate that awaits all warriors. But Morrigan's role goes beyond merely guiding souls to the afterlife. She is a goddess of battle, her influence shaping the outcomes of conflicts and wars. In her warrior aspect, she is fierce and unrelenting, her presence on the battlefield often turning the tide in favor of one side or another. She embodies the chaos and intensity of combat, a force that is both destructive and transformative. Her involvement in battles is not just a matter of chance, but is seen as a reflection of her deep connection to the cycles of life and death. Morrigan's connection to death is profound and multifaceted. She is often associated with the practice of prophecy and fate, her words and actions seen as signs of what is to come. She can foretell the end of lives and the outcomes of battles, her insights shaping the destinies of those who seek her wisdom. Her ability to control these aspects of existence gives her a unique place in Celtic mythology, making her a figure of great power and mystery. One of the most striking aspects of Morrigan's character is her ability to appear in multiple forms, each one representing a different facet of her nature. She can be seen as a beautiful maiden, a fierce warrior, or an old crone, each form carrying its own symbolism and meaning. This shape-shifting ability reflects her connection to the cycles of life and death, and her role as a guardian of these transitions. Through her various forms, Morrigan embodies the full spectrum of existence, from birth to death and everything in between. Morrigan's influence on Celtic beliefs is deep and enduring. She is a goddess who bridges the gap between the physical and spiritual worlds, her presence a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. Her role in battles and in guiding souls reflects the Celtic understanding of life as a series of interconnected cycles, where death is not an end but a transition to something new. Morrigan's power is a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and destruction, there is a deeper order and purpose at work. Her symbolism as a goddess of death and battle also speaks to the Celtic reverence for the natural forces that shape their world. Morrigan represents the raw and untamed aspects of nature, the forces that drive change and transformation. Her presence is both awe-inspiring and humbling, a reminder of the power that lies beyond human control and understanding. Morrigan's role in Celtic mythology is a powerful reflection of the culture's beliefs about life, death, and the natural world. She is a goddess who embodies the full range of human experience, from the glory of battle to the peace of death. Her influence is felt in the very essence of Celtic spirituality, where she stands as a symbol of the deep and mysterious forces that shape existence. Her legacy is one of power and reverence, a testament to the enduring impact of the myths and legends that have shaped our understanding of the world. In the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, where the rivers Euphrates and Tigris carved their paths through the dusty earth, the goddess Ishtar reigns supreme as a powerful and enigmatic figure. Known for her roles as a goddess of love, war, and immortality, Ishtar is a divine force whose influence reaches across the very fabric of existence. Ishtar is a goddess of striking duality. She embodies the passionate intensity of love and the fierce determination of war, her presence felt in the most sacred and the most brutal aspects of life. Her beauty is legendary, enchanting mortals and gods alike, while her warrior spirit commands respect and fear. In her role as the goddess of love, Ishtar represents the unyielding force of desire and attraction, driving the hearts of lovers and the destinies of heroes. Her influence extends to the realms of warfare as well, where she guides and inspires those who seek victory and glory. Yet, it is Ishtar's journey to the underworld that reveals the profound depths of her nature. According to Mesopotamian myth, Ishtar descends into the underworld, a realm ruled by her sister, Ereshkigal. This descent is not merely a physical journey but a symbolic one, representing the cyclical nature of life and death. As Ishtar ventures into the dark, shadowy domain, she confronts the ultimate reality of mortality, a journey that holds deep significance in Mesopotamian culture. Her descent into the underworld is a powerful myth that speaks to the themes of transformation and renewal. Ishtar's journey is marked by her shedding of her divine powers and regalia, an act that signifies her willingness to face the inevitability of death. In the underworld, she encounters trials and tribulations, and her experiences there reveal the trials faced by all who confront the realm of the dead. Her time in the underworld is a period of profound loss and darkness, but it is also a time of renewal and rebirth. Upon her return from the underworld, Ishtar emerges not only as a goddess of life and love, but also as a symbol of resurrection and immortality. Her journey underscores the belief in the cyclical nature of existence, where death is not an end but a necessary step towards renewal. Ishtar's return to the living world brings with it the promise of life and fertility, a testament to her role as a life-giver who holds the power to rejuvenate and transform. The duality of Ishtar's nature is both awe-inspiring and humbling. As a life-giver, she is associated with the growth and vitality of all living things, her influence seen in the blossoming of flowers and the birth of new life. Her role as a death-bringer, however, reminds us of the inevitable end that comes to all things. Ishtar's ability to navigate these opposing forces makes her a figure of immense power and complexity, embodying the delicate balance between life and death. In Mesopotamian culture, Ishtar's story serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of love, war, and immortality. Her journey to the underworld illustrates the profound truth that life is a series of cycles, each one leading to the next. Her return from the underworld is a testament to the enduring nature of the divine and the promise of renewal that follows even the darkest moments. Ishtar's influence extends beyond her mythological narratives, touching the lives of those who worshipped her in ancient Mesopotamia. Her dual nature as both a goddess of life and death reflects the realities of human existence, where joy and sorrow are intertwined, and where the promise of renewal is ever present. In Ishtar, the ancient peoples of Mesopotamia saw a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations, a divine being who navigates the complexities of existence with grace and power. As the goddess of love, war, and immortality, Ishtar remains a figure of deep significance and enduring mystery. Her presence in the myths of Mesopotamia serves as a powerful reminder of the cyclical nature of life and the eternal promise of renewal that follows even the darkest of times. Through her stories, Ishtar continues to captivate and inspire, her legacy a testament to the timeless truths that connect us all. In the vast and diverse landscapes of North America, where the mountains touch the sky and the rivers sing their ancient songs, the legends of immortal witches hold a special place in the spiritual traditions of Native American cultures. These witches are not merely figures of folklore but are woven into the very fabric of the tribe's beliefs, their powers and wisdom reflecting a deep connection to the eternal cycle of life and death. One such figure is the mysterious and revered White Buffalo Woman, a central figure in Lakota spirituality. According to legend, she appeared during a time of great need, bringing with her the sacred pipe and teachings that would guide the Lakota people. Her presence was both a blessing and a profound reminder of the spiritual connections that bind all life. The White Buffalo Woman's immortality is not about living forever in a physical sense, but about her enduring influence and the timeless wisdom she imparted. Her teachings continue to guide the Lakota people, her legacy a living testament to the eternal cycle of life and death. In the stories of the Hopi people, the Spider Woman is a figure of immense power and wisdom. She is often depicted as a guardian of life and a master weaver of the universe's web. Her ability to weave life's threads together symbolizes her connection to the cycles of existence. Spider-Woman's immortality is reflected in her role as a nurturer and protector, guiding her people through the challenges of life with her ancient knowledge. Her wisdom is passed down through generations, ensuring that her influence remains a vital part of the Hopi spiritual landscape. The Navajo people tell tales of the Spider Grandmother, a deity who embodies the interconnectedness of all things. She is a symbol of creation and continuity, her web representing the intricate and delicate balance of life. Spider Grandmother's powers are seen in her ability to weave the fabric of existence, her wisdom guiding the Navajo through their spiritual journey. Her role as a creator and sustainer of life reflects her deep connection to the cycles of nature, her immortality rooted in the ongoing influence she has on her people's beliefs and practices. In the myths of the Apache, the goddess of the sun, known as White Painted Woman, holds a place of reverence. She is a symbol of renewal and life, her presence marking the changing seasons and the cycles of life and death. White Painted Woman's role extends beyond mere existence. She embodies the eternal cycles of nature, her immortality reflected in the rhythms of the natural world. Her influence shapes the spiritual practices of the Apache, her presence a constant reminder of the interconnectedness of all life. The Cherokee speak of the Selu, the Corn Mother, who is a central figure in their spiritual beliefs. Selu's powers are tied to the earth and its bounty, her immortality symbolized by the endless cycle of planting and harvest. She is a nurturing figure, her wisdom ensuring the survival and prosperity of her people. Selu's connection to the land and its cycles highlights her role as a guardian of life and a reminder of the ongoing rhythms of existence. These immortal witches in Native American legends are more than mere stories, they are vital components of the tribe's spiritual beliefs and practices. Their powers, wisdom, and connections to the eternal cycles of life and death reflect a profound understanding of the world and its mysteries. Through their stories, these witches shape the spiritual lives of their people, offering guidance and insight into the complexities of existence. Each of these figures embodies a unique aspect of the natural world, their immortality tied not to physical presence but to the enduring impact they have on their people's beliefs and practices. Their stories remind us of the deep connections between life and death, and the ways in which the eternal cycles of nature influence our understanding of the world. In the legends of these immortal witches, we find a reflection of the timeless truths that bind us all, a testament to the enduring power of spiritual wisdom and the unbreakable links between the past, present, and future. In the shadowy world of alchemy, where ancient wisdom meets mysterious rituals, the quest for immortality is a story of both fascination and desperation. Alchemists, with their enigmatic symbols and secretive practices, sought not just to transform base metals into gold, but to uncover the ultimate elixir of life, an elusive potion that promised eternal existence. Alchemy is steeped in a rich tapestry of science and magic, where the boundaries between the known and the unknown blur. The alchemists were driven by the belief that they could harness the hidden forces of nature to achieve immortality. Their work was not just about transforming substances, but about uncovering the divine secrets of life itself. One of the most famous figures in this quest was Nicholas Flamel, a name that still echoes through the annals of alchemical lore. Flamel, a scribe and merchant from 14th century France, is often remembered for his pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary substance believed to grant eternal life. Although historical records about his actual achievements are scarce, Flamel's name has become synonymous with the search for immortality. His story is a poignant reminder of the lengths to which individuals would go in their search for the elixir of life. Another towering figure in the world of alchemy was Paracelsus, a Swiss physician and alchemist from the 16th century. Paracelsus merged medical science with mystical practices, seeing himself as both a healer and a seeker of hidden truths. He believed that the secrets to immortality lay within the natural world, accessible through the study of alchemical processes. His work bridged the gap between ancient mystical traditions and emerging scientific inquiry, reflecting the deep connection between magic and medicine. The alchemists' pursuit of immortality was intertwined with their belief in witchcraft and the supernatural. They often used symbols and rituals that were steeped in mysticism, combining their scientific experiments with magical practices. Alchemy was not merely a science, but an art of transformation that touched upon the divine. In their quest, alchemists used symbols like the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, to represent the eternal cycle of life and death. These symbols were more than just decorative, they were seen as keys to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. The intersection of science, magic, and myth in alchemical practices created a unique and powerful narrative. Alchemy was a field where the lines between reality and imagination were deliberately blurred. Alchemists believed that by understanding and manipulating the fundamental forces of nature, they could achieve something greater than mere material wealth. They sought to uncover the secrets of the cosmos and to become one with the divine. In their laboratories, alchemists conducted experiments with substances like mercury, sulfur, and salt, seeking the elusive philosopher's stone that would grant them eternal life. They used elaborate rituals and incantations, often drawing on ancient magical traditions, to assist in their work. The blending of these elements created a mystical environment where the boundaries of science and magic were intentionally crossed. The quest for immortality in alchemy was a deeply emotional and existential journey. The idea that one could transcend the limitations of the human condition and achieve eternal life was both thrilling and terrifying. For many alchemists, the search for the philosopher's stone was not just a scientific endeavor but a spiritual quest, a way to connect with the divine and to overcome the ultimate fear of mortality. Their writings and symbols reflect a deep yearning for understanding and enlightenment. Alchemists believed that by achieving immortality, they would not only escape the physical limitations of life, but also gain a deeper connection to the universe itself. Their work was driven by a sense of wonder and reverence for the mysteries of existence, and their legacy continues to captivate and inspire. The world of alchemy, with its blend of science, magic, and myth, offers a poignant reflection of humanity's eternal quest for meaning and transcendence. The stories of these early seekers of immortality are a testament to the profound desires and fears that drive us all. Through their work, alchemists sought to answer some of the most fundamental questions of existence, their pursuit of eternal life a powerful reminder of the human spirit's resilience and curiosity. Every time we encounter an immortal witch in modern stories, whether in books, films, or art, it feels like we're connecting with something ancient and profoundly human. These characters, brimming with mystery and allure, have a way of tapping into our deepest fears and desires, making them some of the most compelling figures in contemporary culture. Think of the iconic figure of the Wicked Witch from modern adaptations of classic fairy tales. This character, with her dark powers and eternal presence, captivates our imaginations. Her portrayal often blends fear and fascination, showing how deeply ingrained these mythical beings are in our collective consciousness. Her power is not just in her magic but in her enduring nature, reminding us of the timeless stories that have always intrigued us. In literature, immortal witches have been portrayed with a haunting beauty and complexity. Take, for example, the witch from the modern fantasy novels who lives through centuries, struggling with the weight of her eternal existence. Her story often weaves together themes of loneliness, power, and the quest for redemption. The depiction of her enduring life force captures the bittersweet nature of immortality, a life filled with both wonder and isolation. These characters reflect our own anxieties about time and legacy, and their struggles often resonate deeply with us. Films have also embraced the theme of immortal witches with a range of portrayals that bring these characters to life in vivid ways. From the enigmatic sorceress in Gothic horror to the ageless enchantress in fantasy epics, the screen brings a visual and emotional depth to these timeless beings. The witch's eternal struggle against time and her quest for meaning in an ever-changing world mirror our own fears about mortality and our search for purpose. These modern interpretations capture the essence of ancient myths while infusing them with contemporary relevance. Artistic representations of immortal witches in modern culture often explore their dual nature, both their power and their vulnerability. Paintings and illustrations frequently depict these figures with a blend of awe and melancholy. The ethereal beauty of an immortal witch, coupled with the weight of her eternal existence, creates a poignant image that lingers in the mind. These works of art not only reflect the power of myth, but also reveal the deep emotional truths that these stories hold for us. What makes the portrayal of immortal witches in modern culture so compelling is their rootedness in ancient myths. These characters are not just fantastical creations, but echoes of stories that have been told for centuries. The themes of power, immortality, and the supernatural that surround them are deeply embedded in our collective psyche. Contemporary interpretations often revisit these themes, reimagining them in ways that reflect our current fears and desires while staying true to their mythological origins. The fascination with immortal witches in modern culture speaks to a universal longing to understand the mysteries of life and death. These characters embody our deepest fears and hopes, exploring the boundaries of human existence and the possibility of transcending it. Their stories remind us of the ancient questions that have always haunted humanity: what lies beyond life? How do we make sense of our existence in the face of eternity? In every portrayal, whether through literature, film, or art, the immortal witch remains a powerful symbol of our quest for meaning. Her story is a reflection of our own struggles with time, power, and the search for something greater. The enduring nature of these characters in modern culture is a testament to the timeless appeal of myths and the ways in which they continue to resonate with us, generation after generation. In the dark corners of history, where fear and superstition cast long shadows, the hunt for witches was more than a search for those who practiced forbidden arts. It was also a desperate attempt to grasp the very essence of immortality, a trait the accused were believed to possess. These trials were not just about rooting out supposed evil, but about confronting society's deepest fears about death and the unknown. During the witch trials of the 16th and 17th centuries, tales of immortality intertwined with accusations. The idea that a witch could defy death and live forever added a chilling edge to the already horrific persecution. In the eyes of many, these women were not just practitioners of dark magic, they were beings who had somehow escaped the natural order of life and death. This belief intensified the fear and loathing directed at them. Consider the infamous Salem witch trials, where accusations ran rampant and paranoia gripped the community. The notion that witches might possess an unnaturally extended life was intertwined with the belief that they had sold their souls to the devil. The idea of immortality in this context was twisted into a nightmare of eternal torment, rather than a gift. The accusers believed that these witches had access to forbidden knowledge and powers, including the power to live beyond the normal span of human life. This belief fueled the hysteria that led to the execution of innocent people, driven by the dread of the unknown and the eternal. Similarly, in Europe, the witch hunts were often characterized by a terrifying mixture of myth and reality. Witches were said to make pacts with demons or gain eternal life through unholy means. Trials were not just about uncovering supposed crimes, but were deeply rooted in the fear of an eternal, malevolent force that could not be understood or controlled. The accused were often subjected to brutal torture, aimed at extracting confessions of supernatural deals or eternal youth. This horrific intersection of myth and reality underscores the profound fear that immortality inspired, both as an alluring possibility and as a terrifying curse. The idea of immortality also reflected the societal anxieties of the time. Death was an ever-present reality, and the unknowns surrounding it were often more terrifying than the known hardships of life. Witches, perceived as having unnatural powers, became symbols of these fears. They were imagined as beings who could transcend the boundaries of life and death, and thus, they were seen as threats to the natural order. The trials became a desperate, though misguided, attempt to reclaim control over the forces that seemed to defy the natural laws of existence. These trials also reveal how deeply ingrained fear and superstition can distort our understanding of the world. The fear of immortality, whether as a blessing or a curse, was so profound that it led to the persecution of those who were thought to possess it. In seeking to eliminate the supposed source of their fear, societies only deepened the tragedy and suffering. The historical witch trials, therefore, are a haunting reminder of how the quest for immortality can intersect with human fears. The stories of those accused, whether true or not, illustrate the powerful hold that myths can have over us. They show how the desire to understand and control the unknown can lead to unspeakable cruelty and suffering. Through these dark chapters, we see how the search for immortality and the fear of death can become intertwined in ways that devastate lives. The trials reveal the emotional and psychological turmoil of facing something as profound and elusive as eternal life. They serve as a sobering testament to the lengths people will go when faced with their deepest fears and the enduring mystery of what lies beyond the mortal veil. The allure of immortality often comes with rituals and spells that promise to extend life or achieve eternal youth. These practices, shrouded in mystery and steeped in ancient tradition, form the core of many legends about immortal witches. Imagine the chilling, eerie ambience of these ceremonies, where whispers and incantations promise to cheat death itself. In many cultures, rituals for immortality are surrounded by a blend of awe and dread. One common thread among these rituals is the use of ancient texts and magical symbols. These texts often contain elaborate instructions for performing rites that could supposedly grant eternal life. The rituals were not mere performances, they were believed to harness powerful, unseen forces that could alter the very fabric of existence. Take, for example, the rituals practiced by witches in ancient European folklore. These ceremonies often involved the use of potions made from rare herbs, mystical incantations, and sacred objects believed to hold supernatural power. The potion might be brewed under the light of a full moon, adding a layer of cosmic alignment to the process. Each ingredient was carefully chosen, based on its magical properties, to ensure that the spell's potency was maximized. The belief was that these rituals could not only delay death, but, in some cases, offer a glimpse into the secrets of eternal life. In Eastern traditions, similar practices are found. In ancient China, Taoist alchemists performed elaborate rituals to achieve immortality. These rituals involved complex formulas and the use of substances like cinnabar, believed to grant eternal life. The process was rigorous and secretive, filled with prayers and meditations meant to purify the body and spirit. These rituals were often seen as a way to transcend the physical realm and merge with the divine, securing a place among the immortals. In Africa, rituals to gain immortality were deeply connected to the spiritual world. Shamans and wise women performed ceremonies that involved invoking ancestral spirits and drawing on the power of the natural world. They used drums, chants, and sacred dances to align themselves with the spiritual forces they believed controlled life and death. These rituals were not only about seeking immortality but also about maintaining harmony with the spirits and nature. The cultural significance of these rituals was profound. In many societies, the pursuit of immortality was linked to the quest for wisdom and power. Immortal witches were often seen as key figures in preserving sacred knowledge and guiding their communities. Their practices reflected a deep belief in the interconnectedness of life, death, and the divine. Rituals were a way to navigate this complex web, offering hope and guidance in the face of life's greatest mystery. For those who believed in these rituals, the idea of immortality was both a sacred quest and a solemn responsibility. The rituals and spells were seen as ways to align with the cosmic order and secure a place among the immortals. Yet, these practices also carried a heavy burden. The pursuit of eternal life often meant isolation from the world and a constant struggle with the very forces one sought to control. In the end, the rituals and spells associated with immortal witches reflect humanity's profound desire to overcome death and understand the mysteries of existence. They are a testament to the lengths to which people will go in their search for meaning and immortality, weaving together the threads of magic, faith, and the eternal. Imagine a figure so powerful and defiant that her very existence challenges the status quo. The Immortal Witch is one such figure, embodying strength and rebellion against the constraints of her time. Her story is one of resistance, a beacon for those who dare to defy societal norms and claim their own power. Immortal witches have long been symbols of female empowerment, their stories echoing the struggles and triumphs of women who refuse to be silenced or subdued. In myths and legends, these witches are not just magical beings, they are warriors against oppression and symbols of unyielding strength. Their immortality is more than just a supernatural trait, it represents a resistance against the forces that seek to control and limit their power. In many cultures, these witches stood in defiance of rigid societal expectations. They were often outcasts or rebels who challenged traditional roles and hierarchies. Their magic was not merely for show but a means to assert their independence and autonomy. They used their powers to protect themselves and others from those who sought to oppress or dominate. This rebellious spirit made them symbols of resistance, rallying cries for those who felt oppressed or marginalized. The role of immortal witches in challenging societal norms is particularly poignant in stories where they confront powerful institutions or figures. They often face persecution and misunderstanding, yet their resilience and strength shine through. Their immortality allows them to outlast their enemies and continue their fight for justice and equality. This defiance is a powerful statement about the endurance of the human spirit and the unbreakable will to fight for one's beliefs. As time has passed, the image of the witch has evolved. Once feared and vilified, the witch is now increasingly seen as a powerful, empowering figure. Modern portrayals often highlight her strength, wisdom, and independence. No longer just a symbol of fear, she has become an icon of female empowerment and resistance. This transformation reflects a broader cultural shift toward recognizing and celebrating the power and agency of women. The evolving image of the immortal witch also reflects a growing appreciation for the complexity of female strength. No longer limited to the role of villain or outcast, she is seen as a multifaceted character with depth and nuance. Her immortality is not just a supernatural attribute but a metaphor for the enduring strength and resilience of women who defy societal expectations and forge their own paths. In literature, film, and art, the immortal witch often represents a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Her story is one of overcoming obstacles, challenging oppressive systems, and ultimately reclaiming her place in the world. She becomes a symbol of hope and inspiration for those who face their own struggles and seek to overcome them. Through her defiance and resilience, the immortal witch challenges us to reconsider our perceptions of power and strength. She reminds us that true empowerment comes from within and that resistance against oppression can take many forms. Her story is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the ability to shape one's destiny against all odds.